Story 1. You can Google by file type. Using the syntax file type PDF, name of the textbook I need, will often give you downloadable versions and save you hundreds of dollars. Plus, being able to Control F a textbook is a lifesaver. This, of course, can be applied to any other file extension. Story 2. This is an unethical and specific one, but it worked wonders. One of the vending machines at school accepted Yu-Gi-Oh cards as dollar bills. For those wondering, I found out from a friend. Story 3. If you need to participate in group discussion but you aren't sure about the material, ask intelligent questions instead of trying to answer what you don't get. It'll buy you time, and you'll still be participating. See the professor during their office hours if you need extra help understanding something. No one comes to office hours, and they're usually really happy to help. I should have failed calculus in university, but got a Mercy D because I was always getting help during office hours. The teacher was really nice, but admitted that it just doesn't seem like you're getting it. Obviously, I wasn't the best at math, but even I could tell that my test grades averaged together didn't equal the 70 I got at the end of the semester. Story 4. My classmate took up strict 9 to 5 school schedule, right from the first semester. Every day he'd work 9 to 5. He was either in class, working on homework, or studying if he got everything done. At 5 p.m., he'd pack up his stuff and was done for the day. He had all his homework done way ahead of schedule and never had to pull all-nighters or waste weekends on homework. He was never stressed out or anything like that because he'd spent time studying when he wasn't slammed with homework. I could never manage it because I'd rather procrastinate and start 3 hours before it was due, but it seemed like the best way to do it. To answer the flood of questions, this was in computer programming. We did get projects estimated at like 60 hours a week later in the course, but by then he was so far ahead of everyone else that he could start working on them as soon as they were assigned, and knew the content so well that he still didn't have to work outside his core hours, while I was pulling multiple all-nighters in the lab trying to catch up. Yes, you might need more time based on your program. The point is to get into a routine and use your time effectively. He didn't have a job because school is affordable where I live. And we were in a co-op program where you work every other semester and can save up some money. But he did take contract work to do in the evenings and weekends for some cash, and would have had every night and weekends to work if he wanted to do so. Story 5. If you have lazy teachers, Google a direct quote from a worksheet or assignment, and you can sometimes find teaching resources and answers online. At my school, the teachers have their own websites and can make different folders for resources. The teachers have the option of putting a link on their site so students can access it. So teachers can see all links, and students can only see once the teachers put on the public site. I looked up one of the assignments for my AP Environmental class, and I found a link to my teacher's answer folder for all of the homework. I really lucked out there because I had no clue what I was doing in that class. Story 6. If you don't know how to study or have a hard time getting yourself to do homework, get a friend to buddy with. My ADHD ass can't study to save my life, but if my friend is in the room concentrating on that, I feel like I don't want to be left out, and I'll buckle down so we're on the same page. If you can't manufacture executive function, peer pressure is fine too. Story 7. You've got to play the metagame. If you're lazy and unorganized like me, you won't have time to properly study for everything and complete every assignment. That's when you look at the grade distribution and start with the items that are worth the most. Story 8. College instructor here. Here are my best tips for getting good grades in my classes. 1. Read your syllabus. I'll tell you what the assignments are and how much they're worth for your total grade. So if you're in a situation where you're in a time crunch and have to choose between doing 2 assignments, you can do the one that's worth a large percentage of your grade. Not that I advise skipping homework, but if you have to, you have to. 2. Get a calendar and plan ahead. At the beginning of the term, you should write down when the tests are, but also the due dates of the larger projects. Then, working backward, set milestones about how far you should be on the project, so you don't procrastinate and try to cram it all in at the end. Once you have a plan set up, follow it. 3. Do the work with the intent of the question in mind, not the literal wording. Instructors aren't always perfect in their wording. So if a question says something like, do an internet search for software to help you in whatever discipline and explain what you find, do what you know the professor is asking. Don't just write, I did a Google search and a bunch of links came up. You won't get points for being clever. 4. Use correct grammar and spelling. You'll get a bad grade if I have to decode your answers. 5. Don't use services like Quillbot or Chegg. If your answer comes too close to the textbook company's answer on a short answer question, you're going to get flagged as a potential plagiarist. And I'm not going to watch your answers like a hawk for the rest of the term. Just do the work as assigned. It's not that hard, unless you're going into medicine or physics or something like that, in which case it is that hard, but you need to actually learn it, so you should do the work anyway. 6. Do projects outside of school that are related to your field of study. This stuff stands out in a big way when it's time to get a job. When an interviewer asks, what did you do outside of class, and you can say that you worked on a project related to your field, you'll see the interviewer's eyes light up. 7. Learn how to eat like an adult. A lot of people never learn how to do this. Good nutrition will not only keep your weight in check, but you'll have more energy during the day, and for study sessions at night. And coffee does not mean energy. 8. Learn to drink like an adult. Binge drinking will make you feel awful and will take you days to recover. Have a good time, but also know your limits and be safe. 9. Do not come to class high. I will know, and you'll be branded as that kid who comes to class high. 10. Use the opportunity to meet people that aren't like you. Sounds corny, but we all live in our own bubbles, and school is a great place to learn about cultures unlike your own. Story 9. Find time to get some exercise in. All of that grab-and-go fast food catches up to you real quick. I got fat as f*** in college and have since lost all of that weight. I wish I made time to at least squeeze in a 30-minute workout every other day. To add to this, a workout does not need to be led by a pro trainer, an hour long at the gym once you get a membership or find a workout partner, etc. It can be enough just to walk around campus or the city or the town that you live in for 30 minutes. Bonus points if you bring a podcast or audiobook with you. Story 10. Laminate your notes so the tears just roll off. On a serious note, this is kind of shitty, but once I left my charger at the library, and it wasn't at the Lost and Found, so I came back a few hours later when a person was working and asked if they had found a white Apple phone charger, which I saw that they had earlier, and they just gave me this charger. Lost a charger and got a new one for free. Story 11. For math and physics majors, learn how to use LaTeX early. It will save you a ton of time in the long run, and you'll need to know it for grad school anyway. I personally recommend likes for problem sets, since it helps to see what you're writing live. Also, learning how to use Mathematica really well saved me countless times when I wasn't smart enough to do the math by hand. Story 12. If you want to use Wikipedia when writing an academic essay, just cite the sources that Wikipedia cites. Not only does it reduce your workload a lot, but it makes it look like you've done a ton of reading during your research, which your professor will be really impressed by. Story 13. All my college student friends out there, make sure to give yourself enough time to sleep every day. Get some exercise when you can. It helps relieve stress and works to counter all the cup of noodles you're likely chowing down on. Personal hygiene is huge. Shower every day, brush your teeth, wash your hands. It will make you happier. And believe me when I say that people can absolutely tell when you don't do these things, regardless of how well you try to mask it with deodorant or gum. It may be tempting to relax first and wait to do projects and papers later before they're due, but if you do the opposite, you will find that there is way less stress involved. Meal prep is a great way to make sure you're eating well, while saving as much time as possible during the week. Talk to your instructors. Get to know them. Their advice can be invaluable in knowing what they expect in the classwork and homework. And after you graduate, you will want to ask them for letters of recommendation for jobs. If you don't have a relationship with them, they are less likely to give you one. Likewise, talk with your classmates. Lifelong friends are made in college, sometimes in the most unlikely circumstances or classes. I was a history major, and I met one of my best friends in a seminar class about genocide. We went out for ice cream and watched cartoons after each class to cheer ourselves up. And now, 9 years later, we still meet up once a week for ice cream. Remember that no matter how stressed you get, how hopeless things may seem when the world seems to be putting you under as much pressure as possible, there are always people out there who care and who want to help you. Most colleges have student counselors who you can talk with for free and get things off your chest. The college where I work also has a Zen Den, where you can go to relax, sit quietly in a beanbag chair or hammock, and just get away from things for a minute. Chances are, yours may have similar resources for students. Story 14. It's fairly silly, but it was indispensable to me in college, especially for my English minor. Paste your syllabi in a very visible location in your home, and write down all of your major due dates on a whiteboard. There's a lot of that goes on in college, so it's really easy to forget sometimes what you have to read or what papers you have to do. Especially for non-math courses, your assignments will be due in spurts, and it's definitely not as easy to remember as a weekly problem set. So it's best to just have all of your assignments easily visible. It pays dividends. Story 15. Throw yourself into the course. Network like a maniac. Help out on projects that are tied to professional businesses. Volunteer. Long gone are the days of being paid to start the best band in the world. You are paying for a service, so get the most out of it. Or don't, and go and get a job instead. Master that, make cash money, train, and get qualifications. Or about with a minimum wage job, do the festivals, travel, hike up mountains and camp under the stars, join the greatest band in the world, or learn to paint. Do something while you learn what you really want to do. Most importantly, though, wear sunscreen. Story 16. If you're nervous about presenting something or speaking out loud because you're forced to, just know that the majority of the students around you feel the same way as you do, if not worse. That always helped me get over the fear of talking out loud. Story 17. You haven't done your homework? Corrupt a file and say that's your homework. Just pretend to be ill. Get out a load of paper or worksheets on the table and fake a breakdown trying to find it. Works easier with girls or beta males. Soak your book in water and rip up the pages, but not completely. Go to the lesson and say someone soaked your bag and everything is ruined. Don't be a pussy and just admit that you were too busy looking after your ill grandma who is also disabled and gay. Get in as many minority things as you can. It helps. Want to cheat? For writing tests, such as Spanish, get 2 pieces of paper and put one on top of the other. Then, firmly write your response, and there should be an indent. Then simply sneak this into the test and write over the indent. Make a prison scroll, aka get a real small piece of paper and with a sharp pencil, write all the info you need. Fold or roll it up and hide this under your watch, in a dictionary, pencil case, in a pen, or anywhere you can. Just don't get caught looking incessantly in your pencil case, etc. Fire alarm. It works. Just get a kid in a younger year to pull it for you or trip into it. Even better, find one where there isn't a camera. Get a copy of the test beforehand by either stealing it or asking an older student if they still have their copy. Go to the toilet and go on your phone. If the teacher makes you leave your phone, hand in your trap phone and then go to the toilet. Want to get out of trouble? Cry, boy or girl. The more passionately, the better. Make sure they understand how badly you are getting bullied, but can't say their names as you aren't a snitch. Deny everything. If there is no actual evidence, they cannot punish you. For example, I swore in class and got sent to the head. Overreaction, am I right? And when asked what I had done, I said, honestly, don't know. When the teacher came to snitch on me, I protested my innocence and denied it all. Caution. It may make that teacher detest you, but it's worth it. Have a convenient asthma attack. If you're a girl and it's a male teacher, girl problems usually sorts everything out. Blame it on your period and start going into detail about how bad it is. You'll get away with it. These are made as a joke. Please do not try them. Story 18. As someone who just graduated college, Do yourself a favor and actually go to class. You're paying for the chair, if you're in the US, and there's research on a correlation between greater absences equal to greater likelihood to fail a course. I know you hate the class, but go anyway. I might literally be begging. Story 19. Say you have an 8-page paper due, but you've only written about 7 pages. Use the find and replace function in your word processor to replace all periods with slightly larger ones. So if your paper specifies 12-point font, change the periods to 14 points. This will likely get you to your 8 pages, and it's very hard to detect in a hard copy. Pro tip: do not use this trick if your papers are submitted electronically. Your teacher can much more easily spot the change, and then you're busted. Story 20. Record lectures on your phone and listen to them while studying for tests. So many times in lectures you get so caught up in taking notes that you completely miss things the professor says. I've picked up on so many things that I totally missed in the notes, but heard the professor say in the recording. Also takes pressure off you to take crazy fast notes. Story 21. Former student here. Since leaving school, I've looked back and realized that the best, most useful hack that I never utilized is to work hard, study, and take it seriously. Even if you don't go to college, learn a trade. Set your future self up for success. Story 22. Put your phone away completely when studying. The biggest issue I had in school was getting distracted by Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, text messages, emails, etc. There was always something going off, and I'd spend 10 minutes on my phone, put it down, get a notification, and waste another 10 minutes.